to stage. There we go. I am live and still learning how to use my streaming platform. I can't believe it. 13 days till my memoir book launch, and that is still freaking me out. I love it. I love it though. Oh, it's got a glare. I want to order the hardback copy just to have it for I don't know, just for the fun of it. Something special to have. Of course, I've ordered a bunch of these paperback copies that are going to arrive hopefully in time for the book launch event, which it's not really a book launch event, although I keep referring to it as that. It's a combined event between the BC Coalition of Experiential Communities, which I am a part of, and me, Annie Templebrand. So we are all working together to do this all on the same day, and we've been friends and been in the coalition together, and now we run the Naked Truth together, and we've just been a part of each other's lives for years. So whenever we can combine our work and have our events together, it's really special and exciting, and we all have been working together for so long that we just it's easy to work together. And yeah, so shout out Susan Davis, Velvet Steel, and Cinder Kudehi. I hope I pronounced that right. These are my colleagues in the coalition and the people that I will be presenting with on the day of my book launch on October 22nd, Tuesday. And that will be live streamed for people who aren't local, or people who are local. But the people who are local, please come and join us. It is going to be really fun. We're going to have lots of a celebratory type of vibe. It's a great networking opportunity for any people who work in the sex industry, access services in the sex industry, or are an organization or community group that provides support to sex workers. Really, anyone that feels like I would love to see some professors or instructors who uh, teach about, pro sex worker rights and don't perpetuate the model of silencing us. And that would be just so amazing, because that was where I was in university at Simon Fraser when I was the silent stripper in the room, and this story is in my memoir. And I wouldn't admit to anyone what I did for work. Uh, but my classmates would often talk very derogatorily about the sex industry and about sex workers. So I hadn't found my voice yet, but I wanted to write my essays about how I was experiencing empowerment. And I honestly didn't even think there was literature about sex workers being empowered in the feminist movement or in women's studies classes or anywhere. But when I handed in my first essay, my teacher, my TA, the teacher assistant who I was, having to give all my work to, she actually pulled me aside and gave me back my paper and said that she couldn't accept it because my sources were not published. They weren't published sources. My sources actually came from doing interviews with all of my friends who worked in the sex industry, because at the time I honestly did not know that there was literature out there. So my TA took me to a book called Whores and Other Feminists. And just the title, I was just like, oh, what? I loved it. So that book just freed me. It changed everything for me. That book is why I got into activism. It's why I started the Naked Truth website, which there's a whole chapter in the book about the naked truth. And just, what that part of my life was so meaningful. A lot of people that I am still in connection with and who I would call lifelong friends are people who I met when I was starting the Naked Truth, and when, we were doing the exotic dancers for cancer events, and I was in the media all the time back then, and I was so young, and I would say stupid shit sometimes, and they would quote me. Oh, it was embarrassing. But that's what happens when you're new to activism. You're green, and if your mentors aren't understanding and kind about it, then it can really F you up. It can make you not wanna be a part of the movement. So I feel like I was really fortunate. I had people like Raven Bowen, Susan Davis, Amanda Bonella. Uh, I mean, there's so many. Not so many that I could never, like, stop, but just, there are quite a few people that not all their names come to my mind at this particular moment. But definitely Raven and Susie and Amanda, were key people, and you'll read all about it if you read my memoir. But the most fascinating thing about my relationships with them is that I've been, in and out of the hospital, and I've even gone, like, years where I couldn't work, I couldn't, interact, I couldn't do activism, and even now that I'm starting to come out with my books and starting to do podcast interviews, like, be interviewed as a guest and being out in the media, it's very new to be back in the public eye again. This is all very new to me again. I went for many years without just because I didn't have the energy, honestly. And so I was sick and I had young kids, and, it's just so wonderful to be I'm 50 years old and to be able to say that my health is getting better than, than it has been in a long time, and my children have they're mostly grown. My youngest is 13, and they are incredible, wonderful people, and I'm so fortunate about that, and you'll get to know a little bit about them in my book. I do talk about, obviously, the momentous events, uh, that surrounding my children in my book, but I don't really get into their personal stories because that's their story to tell, of course. And, but, motherhood is such an, I find it's just not covered very much. Sex work and being a mother is not, you don't see that viewpoint, that perspective a lot. So I felt really excited to share that perspective and kind of be someone who represents that viewpoint. Of course, it's different for everybody, and I can only speak for myself. And when you read my book, you'll see, like, my experience is completely different from any other person in the sex industry because every single one of us has a completely different experience. And some of us will have more empowering stories, and some of us will have more horrible, devastating, traumatic stories. And but we all have a valid place that we're coming from, and that we all should be able to have a voice and be able to say what this industry has meant to us without having other people uh, try to silence us. And censorship is such a huge thing right now with sex industry. It's like we've started to get kind of more respect for a few years, I felt like, and now I feel like COVID divided our society so much that we've got like this radical extremist right and this radical extremist left, uh, and we just we can't seem to meet in the middle anymore. I just would love to see people read my book and then feel like, wow, we all we all do have certain commonalities, even if every single one of our experiences is completely different. We all are human beings who want to be loved and want to have connection and want to be good parents and, provide for our families and make ends meet and have passion in our life. Maybe we have goals. I'm one of those people who only in the last few years since my health started to kind of improve, and it was a bit of a roller coaster, and I'm back on the up and up again, but I really only in the last few years started to have real goals, like getting my books published and becoming a best-selling author and all of that stuff, so it's coming up now. It's 13 days, and I'm gonna be asking some of my dear friends and my people I've created partnerships with to help me promote my book, and I will be helping to lift them up in return. I know that I have probably not been that supportive of a friend or partner in the last couple of weeks because I've just been so insanely busy. I'm still waiting to find out if my audiobook is accepted by Audible, and I just don't know yet. I mean, I'm checking the platform several times a day because they don't send an email to update you, which is weird. I went into the section of notifications to, like, purposely get them to email me, but I don't have that option. It's the strangest platform in that way, because usually you wanna turn your emails off, but in this case, I wanted my email on. So my website designer created a whole page on my website where people will be able to go and, like, right click on these little quotes from my book with pictures, and then if they want, they can post it on their social media to help promote me, and they're so beautiful, and I'll be trickling them out, and if you feel comfortable, because I know sex work is so stigmatized, and the name of my book and everything else, a lot of people wouldn't be comfortable to share my posts, and I totally understand that. I get that, and I have no, uh, begrudgement. I don't know if that's a word, but I don't begrudge anyone who doesn't share my posts because they're uncomfortable. I totally understand, but if you're like me and you're super comfortable sharing, like, I mean, I have 2 different profiles. I have my family profile where I don't share any of this shit. And then I have, my brand profile where I'm pretty open and out, and my family could go and see that anytime, but it's just that, I just like to keep those just keep work and family separate. I've done it for so many years being in this industry that it's just become like a thing now, kind of like, if you were a stripper and you didn't never wanted to sit down on dirty chairs, so you carry around like a little towel or a little handkerchief to put on chairs. And to this day, even though I haven't stripped in many, many, many moons, I still can't sit my bare ass on any kind of furniture. I have to put something down because it's just become the way I am, and that's how it's been with kind of keeping my work life and my family life separate. But they all know my book's coming out, and we talk about it a lot. I celebrate with my family members when I get excited about something, and I'm just, yeah, it's helping me kind of to keep my mind off my recent relationship that ended because that has been hard emotionally, and I catch myself having difficult days with that, which I think people can relate to, when when a relationship with someone you really love ends, and especially if you don't hate them, because nothing ever happened in my relationship that led me to hate my partner. We split up because of other reasons that just boundary issues, and it was just not working because I have certain expectations for my own peace and happiness in my life. And so but I never developed any anger or feelings of hatred towards my partner. And so it was a harder breakup than other breakups I've had in the past, because in the past, I always waited until I hated them. I think I just keep trying and trying and trying until I hated them. And when I became single, the last time before I met my most recent partner, I made a decision that I would never stay in an unhappy relationship again. And so I just I take it day by day, and if it's good today, then I stick around till tomorrow. But when there's been several days in a row where my life and my home doesn't feel peaceful anymore, then I know it's time for us to part, because I just value my peace so much, and anyone who has health issues can relate to how important it is to just have a peaceful life, because any kind of stress just makes it so much worse. Just makes your illness worse, you know? And then recently, I was doing some research and I came across some research that showed that people who are in bad like in relationships with partners that they don't feel are supportive or there for them actually have like all the higher shitty health markers, and that people who are in good, strong, respectful, secure relationships are more likely to have like, a normal resting heart rate and normal cholesterol and normal blood pressure and all of that stuff. And I know from being a person with autoimmune disorders that like just the tiniest bit of stress can like just flare everything up and make it so much worse. So I've chosen because of that to make my life as stress-free as possible. And that means not keeping stressful relationships in my life, even if I love those people. And even not putting up with any kind of disrespect, because disrespect gets my heart rate going, makes me feel sick. It makes me feel like I need to react or respond. And so I've learned that the best response is to set the boundary and say, please don't treat me like that. Please don't disrespect me like that. And then if they continue to disrespect you, then you have to remove those people from your life. And that's just sadly the way it goes. And I have to do that just to maintain like my health, just to maintain my heart rate and not feel like in an activated state where I'm constantly like feeling sick and anxious. Like I can't live like that. I just can't. It f's with my whole immune system. So I make it a real important priority for myself to keep only good people in my life. And I'm not saying that that all the people that I've let go out of my life are bad people, because I don't feel that way. I just feel that a lot of people who themselves are not in control of their emotions, or themselves burden the people around them with their anxiety and their uh, negativity. Those people, they may be wonderful people, but they drain me. They drain me so fast. Like just it could take 5 minutes. It's just so fast, and it's because my health is fragile. And I think one of the most important things that people can do if they have health problems is to remove all those toxic people from their lives. You know, what do you think? Do you agree with me? I kind of went on a rant there. But yeah, this is the journey. This is the journey, right? I started out young, and at the beginning of my memoir, you'll see I was very hot-headed little twerp, honestly, and I had a lot of attitude. I didn't. I saw the world as more of a place that was like a place that can't be trusted. Whereas I've come to a place now where I've learned not to trust people, love people, but not trust them, but to see the beauty, not just the ugliness around me, because there's so much beauty out there. And so you see that transformation if you read my book. So I don't think I'm giving anything away there. I don't really give anything away there, but yeah. So thank you for anyone who has joined me. Wow, I think this is the longest live I've ever done. Really went off on a tangent there. I really appreciate you, and I hope to see you at my book launch event, which is a combined panel event with the BC Coalition of Experiential Communities. We're going to be live in Vancouver. It's free. Anyone who's local, please show up. And if you can't show up, then just watch for my socials. I'll be streaming right just like I am right now, right through my socials. Oh, yes, thank you for the message. Cocktails with Dimples and the Beard. I get to be a guest on your podcast. Next week is recording. Woo! And I think you're releasing it, like, right away, too. I'm so excited. I had a fun time the last time we talked. Also, the fact that we're, like, drinking vodka while we chat, that does kind of loosen the tongue a little. Yeah. But I mean, honestly, I'm kind of always just an open book, but yeah. So yeah, how sex work shaped my life. Sign up, please sign up to my website, my newsletter, so that you can get updates on my books and my blog posts and other things that I'm doing that are exciting. And I love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bye, Dean and Kevin.